Thanksgiving went badly. I caught my girlfriend with my brother on the bed. "He has more money," she said. I left in silence. Week later, when she found out he was working for me, I came back a day early. Thanksgiving was tomorrow, and I wanted to surprise Olivia. I'd been gone a month, longer than I'd planned, and I figured she'd be happy to see me. I even picked up a bottle of her favorite wine on the way home. It felt good to be back. The flight was long and I was exhausted, but I was looking forward to a quiet evening with her. Maybe order in, catch up, spend the holiday together like we always did. I had been working non-stop, trying to set things up for us for our future. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. The only light came from the slightly open bedroom door down the hall. I set my bags down carefully and listened. A muffled laugh. Deep voices. A sound I knew, but didn't want to believe. I stepped forward. My heart was pounding, but my head was calm. The moment felt surreal, like I was watching it happen to someone else. I pushed the door open. Under the covers, two figures were tangled together. Her blonde hair spilled over my pillow, her bare shoulder visible above the sheets. The man beside her turned his head. My brother. Either of them spoke. Olivia pulled the covers up and stared at me, not with guilt, but with irritation. Like I walked in at the wrong time, like I was the problem here. My brother's face was flushed, his mouth opening and closing as if searching for words that wouldn't come. I didn't yell. Didn't react. Just looked at them. Finally I asked, "What's wrong?" Olivia sighed. "Charlie, you barely give me anything anymore." I frowned. "What? You're always working, always talking about the future, but what about now? You used to take care of me, spoil me. Now I hardly get anything from you." She gestured to my brother. "He has more money. And he even spends it on me." I just stared at her. A month ago, I had spent 10 grand on an engagement ring she had begged me for. Before I left, I had asked her to move in with me permanently, to start planning a future together. And now she was telling me I didn't give her enough? I looked at my brother. He couldn't even look at me. I turned and walked out. Not a word. No yelling, no arguing. Just silence. I barely slept that night. I wasn't sad. I wasn't even angry anymore. Just numb. I sat in the hotel room, staring at my phone, scrolling through the messages Olivia had sent me over the past month. She told me that she missed me. That she couldn't wait for me to come home. She sent selfies, little heart emojis, told me to hurry back. All while I slept with my brother in my own bed. I checked my bank app. I had spent over 10 grand on her in the last year alone. The designer bags, the trips, the expensive ring she begged me for 3 months ago. The ring I thought she wanted because she loved me, not because she saw me as a walking ATM. By morning, I knew exactly what I had to do. I wasn't going to let her continue living in my apartment as if nothing had happened. I arrived at noon. I half expected her to be gone, but no. She was lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone, a coffee cup next to her as usual. She looked up when I walked in. "So you're back. You have 2 hours to pack." She blinked. "Excuse me? You don't live here anymore. Get out." She scoffed. "Charlie, don't be stupid. Where am I going to go? Not my problem." She rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "You're seriously kicking me out? Over one mistake?" I laughed. "One mistake? Olivia, you were in my bed with my brother." She groaned as if I was being unreasonable. "I already told you why. You stopped caring about me. And honestly, he's not much better." She sighed and muttered, "The cheap bastard hasn't even bought me a bag yet." I just stared at her. I couldn't believe that I had once planned to marry this woman. She must have noticed my expression because she flipped her hair back and grabbed her suitcase. "You know what? Fine. Just don't come crawling back when you realize what you've lost." I opened the door. "You can let yourself out." She walked past me, grinning like she had won something. 6 days later, she showed up at my door. And this time, the look on her face was completely different. 6 days passed. I didn't sit around thinking about Olivia. I had too much going on. The business I had been building for the past year was finally making some serious money, and orders were rolling in. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't stressing about my finances or spending them on someone ungrateful. Then, on the 6th night, there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, there was Olivia. But she didn't look like the woman I'd thrown out. Her makeup was smudged, her hair was messy, and instead of one of her designer bags, she was holding nothing but her cell phone. She gave me a faint smile. "Hey, Charlie." I didn't move. "What do you want?" She let out a breath. "Can we talk? Please?" I raised an eyebrow. "About what?" She hesitated. "I made a mistake." I actually laughed at that. "No kidding." She shifted on her feet, glancing past me as if hoping I'd invite her in. "Look, I thought your brother had money. He made it sound like he did. But he's broke, Charlie. He has nothing." I should have known that Olivia wouldn't go down quietly. She had too much pride, too much entitlement. Kicking her out and firing my brother wasn't enough. She had to make it messy. A few days later, I was in my office when my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. "You're going to regret this." I ignored it. 5 minutes later, another message appeared. "Hope you enjoy the bad press." I frowned at that one. A few hours later, I got a call from a business associate. "Charlie, are you seeing this?" "Seeing what?" "Your brother's running his mouth online. Saying you stole his ideas, fired him out of jealousy, even saying you tried to ruin his life out of spite. Some people are even buying it." I pulled up my laptop. Sure enough, business forums and social media were full of posts about me. Claims that I built my company on stolen ideas, that I was a selfish, backstabbing fraud. All complete nonsense, but the internet loves drama. I called Ryan. He picked up after a couple of rings. "You've got a lot of nerve," I said. He chuckled. "What, are you upset about a little bad publicity? You think this is going to hurt me? My business is fine. But you? You're broke, unemployed, and dating someone who only wanted you for money you don't have." There was silence. I grinned. "She's still living with you, isn't she?" More silence. "Let me guess," I continued. "She complained about how you don't spoil her, about how she thought her life would be better with you. Maybe she's even started picking fights. Am I close?" He let out a sharp breath. I was right. "Ryan, let me give you some free advice. Olivia doesn't do consequences. She just moves on to the next guy with a bigger wallet. And since you don't have one, I'd start watching your back." I hung up. I thought that was the end of it. Then, 2 nights later, Olivia showed up at my door again. This time she wasn't alone. She had a suitcase. And behind her, standing stiffly with their arms crossed, were her parents. I blinked. "What the hell is this?" Olivia sniffed dramatically. "Charlie, I made a mistake. I don't want to be with Ryan. I want to be with you. And my parents agree." Her mother, a woman I had only met twice and never liked, stepped forward. "Charlie, you proposed to our daughter. You made a commitment. You can't just throw it away." I almost laughed. "She cheated on me." Her father frowned. "That was a misunderstanding." I stared at her. "A misunderstanding?" I walked in on her and my brother in bed. Her mother waved her hand as if I was being ridiculous. "Olivia was just confused. But she realizes now that she wants a future with you." I crossed my arms. "Not happening." Her father exhaled sharply. "Son, don't make us take legal action." I blinked. "Legal action? For what?" "For breaking a promise," he said seriously. "You gave her an engagement ring. That means something. Either you marry her or you compensate her for emotional distress." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. "You're joking." Olivia's mother shook her head. We're prepared to sue for damages. Or we can settle this the right way. A wedding. A fresh start. I couldn't stop myself. I burst out laughing. You want to legally force me to marry your daughter? Her father stiffened. It's the honorable thing to do. I was still laughing when I stepped back and closed the door in their faces. And that should have been the end of it. But Olivia wasn't done. I barely had time to process what had just happened before my phone exploded. Unknown number. Then another. Then a voicemail. I played it, expecting more threats from Olivia's parents. Instead, it was my own mother. Charlie, call me back. Right now. I just got a very interesting call from Olivia's parents, and I need to hear from you before I lose my mind. I sighed and called her back. She picked up immediately. Charlie, what the hell is going on? Olivia's parents just called me and your dad, saying you're refusing to take responsibility for your fiancée dash. I could practically hear the air quotes dash. And they're talking about suing you for emotional damages? Are they crazy? Yes, I said. And they're saying you wrongfully terminated Ryan because of relationship issues? I groaned. I fired Ryan because he's a backstabbing jerk. The relationship part was just a bonus. She huffed. Well, your father is currently on the phone with her father, who is demanding that we, and I quote, talk some sense into you before they escalate this to the courts. I rubbed my temples. Mom, do they really think they can force me to marry them? She sighed. Charlie, these people are crazy. They're old money, but the kind that went broke trying to keep up appearances. Olivia probably saw you as her best chance to stay comfortable. And now that she's blown it, they're desperate. I leaned back in my chair. So what's Dad saying? He's telling them to go to hell, of course. But Olivia's father is threatening to go public. I laughed. What's he going to do? Hold a press conference? Mom sighed. I wouldn't put it past them. These people love to make a scene. She wasn't wrong. And I was about to find out the hard way. The next morning, I walked into my office and stopped dead in my tracks. Olivia was sitting at my receptionist's desk, casually flipping through a magazine. My actual receptionist, Jessica, was standing nearby, looking very uncomfortable. She just walked in, Jessica said. Olivia smiled at me like nothing was wrong. Morning, Charlie. I pinched the bridge of my nose. What the hell are you doing here? She stood and smoothed her dress. I realized something. We don't have to fight. We can work this out. So I figured, why wait? Let's start fresh. Start fresh? I repeated. She beamed. Yes. I forgive you. I stared at her. You forgive me? For overreacting. She sighed dramatically. I know you were hurt, but we're meant to be together. So let's just forget all this and move on. I've already told my parents that we're working things out. I was still trying to process the sheer madness of what she was saying when she clapped her hands together. Oh, and by the way, I told Ryan to stop spreading those rumors about you. He's just bitter. But don't worry. He and I are completely over. I blinked. Wait. You dumped him? She rolled her eyes. Obviously. He's broke. You were right, he's useless. She stepped closer and lowered her voice. I want to be with someone who can actually provide for me. Someone who has a future. Someone like you. I took a deep breath. Olivia. She smiled sweetly. Yes? You have 5 seconds to get out of my office before I have security drag you out. Her smile twitched. Charlie, don't be ridiculous. 4. Her eyes widened. You're serious? 3. Charlie. 2. She huffed and grabbed her purse. You're making a big mistake. 1. She turned and stormed. Out. Jessica let out a breath. Okay, what was that? I shook my head. Something tells me this isn't over. And I was right. Because that night, Olivia and her parents pulled off their craziest stunt yet. I should have known that Olivia and her crazy parents weren't done yet. I got home late that night, looking forward to finally relaxing, when I saw something that almost made me drop my keys. A huge white banner hung from the balcony of my apartment building. In big, bold letters it said, "Charlie, marry Olivia. Be a man." I stared at it. For about 10 seconds, I really thought I was hallucinating. Then I looked down. Standing on the sidewalk, right in front of my building, were Olivia, her parents, and a damn priest. A few people had stopped to watch. Some were taking pictures. I ran my hand down my face. They hadn't just brought a priest. Olivia spotted me and gasped like we were in a rom-com. "Charlie! You're home!" I sighed and walked over to them. "Take down the banner." "Now." Her father crossed his arms. "Not until you do the right thing." "The right thing?" I repeated. "You've lost your damn minds." Her mother stepped forward. "Charlie, honey, we know this is scary. But we're here to support you. And Father Thomas here is ready to marry the two of you right now." The priest smiled and gave me a little wave. I turned to Olivia. "Are you seriously going through with this?" She batted her eyelashes. "I know you're mad, but this is the best way to fix everything. We don't need a big wedding. We can just do it here, right now, and move on." I let out a short laugh. "You think I'm going to marry you just because you brought a priest and a damn banner?" Her father frowned. "If you don't, we'll have no choice but to take legal action." I groaned. "You keep saying that, but you can't sue me for breaking up with your daughter." I heard a voice behind me. "Will you all shut up?" I turned. Ryan. He looked like crap, dark circles under his eyes, clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them. But he was glaring at Olivia's parents like he'd finally snapped. "Ryan," her mother said in surprise. "What are you doing here?" He scoffed. "Making sure you don't embarrass yourselves any more than you already have." Olivia glared at him. "Ryan, go home." "No," he snapped. "You got me into this mess, and I'm done letting you ruin my life. And guess what? I lied to you about Charlie stealing my ideas. I was angry, and I wanted revenge. But everything he built? It was his work. Not mine. So stop trying to ruin him just because he won't marry your crazy ass." Olivia's parents stared at him in horror. "Ryan, we raised you better than this," her father said. Ryan let out a bitter laugh. "Did you? Because from where I'm standing, you raised me and Olivia to think that everything should just be handed to us. And you know what? That's why we're both broke now." Silence. Then Ryan turned to me. "Charlie, I was a jerk. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I had to say it." I studied him for a second. Then I nodded. He exhaled, as if he had been waiting for this. Her father finally came out of his shock. "That's enough," he said stiffly. He turned to me. "Charlie, if you don't marry Olivia, our family will be forced to do absolutely nothing." I finished. "Because you have no case, no leverage, and no damn pride left after that circus show you just put on." He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Ryan, then Olivia, then back at me. Then, without another word, he grabbed his wife's arm and started to walk away. Olivia blinked. "Wait, what are you doing?" Her mother sighed. "We're going home, Olivia." But, her father gave her a look. "Enough." I couldn't help but smile. Olivia turned back to me, desperation creeping into her expression. "Charlie, you don't really want to throw this all away, do you?" I grinned. "Oh, I do." And then I walked into my building, leaving her standing there as the banner flapped uselessly in the wind. I thought that was the last of it. I really did. Olivia's parents had finally backed off, Ryan had admitted he was a failure, and Olivia had been left alone with her pathetic banner, and a priest who probably regretted ever getting involved. But of course Olivia wasn't finished. The next morning, I was sipping my coffee, enjoying my first real moment of peace in weeks, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. Then another. Then a text. "Charlie, open the door. We need to talk." I frowned. Got up. walked over to my apartment door and checked the peephole. Olivia. With her damn case again. I opened the door just enough to see her. You have 2 seconds to turn around and leave before I throw your suitcase off the balcony. She forced a shaky smile. Charlie, please. I have nowhere else to go. I raised an eyebrow. Ryan finally kicked you out? She swallowed. He's a loser. He couldn't handle me. I laughed. Olivia, you burned every bridge you had. I don't know why you think I'd take you back. She stepped forward and lowered her voice. Charlie, I have nothing. No money, no job, my parents are pissed at me. I made a mistake, okay? I should have stayed with you. I grinned. You're just saying that because you ran out of options. Her face twisted. So what? You're just going to let me be homeless? I tilted my head. You cheated on me, tried to ruin my business, sent your crazy parents after me, and dragged my private life into the public just to pressure me into marrying you. And now you want pity? She crossed her arms. I don't deserve it. I gave her a slow look. You deserve worse. For the first time, real panic flashed in her eyes. Charlie, please. I'll do anything. I leaned in slightly. Anything? She nodded quickly. Yes, anything. I grinned. Good. Then pack your little suitcase, get your gold-digging ass out of my life forever, and never contact me again. Her face crumpled. You don't mean that. I grabbed her suitcase, walked over to the railing, and before she could stop me, I threw her off the damn balcony. She screamed. Charlie! I shrugged. You better go get it before someone steals all your nothing. Her jaw dropped. Then she finally seemed to realize that she had lost. Completely. She stomped off, screaming about how I'd regret this. How I was a terrible person. How I'd never find anyone as good as her. I laughed. For the first time in a long time, I felt nothing but relief.